before we announce the winners, I want to talk a little bit about those who have been nominated and just really give big applause when you hear these names, because all of these people who have been nominated for these awards, both in the memorial category and in the industry appreciation awards category, have done remarkable things for this business, and these are people who really need to be recognized, whether they are actually the award winners, award recipients or not. They're all winners to us. So this is the all-winner squad of the ComicsPRO Industry Appreciation Award. The nominees for the Memorial Award for this year for Julia Schwartz, whose long career as a DC editor and as an agent before that, going back to working with H.P. Lovecraft and Ray Bradbury and a lot of early authors in the science fiction fantasy realm, but really known for his years at DC Comics and revitalizing comics of the Silver Age. Julia Schwartz is fondly remembered for that, so let's give him a round of applause. The recipient of this year's Industry Appreciation Memorial Award is Phil Seuling. And Phil never had the privilege to meet him. He passed away before I was actually in this business, but we are all standing on his shoulders still some 35 years later. Without Phil Seuling, it's quite possible that he wouldn't be here as the founder of the comics direct market in a real sense. Besides his conventioneering, the huge thing that Phil did was set up this direct sales market for us. So we want to give Phil a big round of applause. And for someone, we have two former Seagate distribution accounts in the room. Bob Wayne, with his company here, that was in the Fort Worth area, was Seagate account number 40. Okay. Accepting the award for Phil Seuling is former Seagate account number 7, Phil Shanis from Pacific Comics, then, and Diamond Comics Distributors now.
I'll just spend a couple minutes real quickly. I met Phil 40 years ago at a New York Comic Con, which was kind of one of the early convention people. Drove my car from San Diego at Pacific Comics cross country. Because gasoline was only 18 cents a gallon, and it was cheaper to drive for 3 days than fly in 4 hours. Obviously a very sober person. And my memories of Phil is he was larger than life. He did revolutionize the entire distribution system. He was a huge man and really worked closely with Saul Harrison at DC and really cracked open that whole idea of buying now returnable. Some quick highlights were things like when you bought from Phil, you had a binding print of 300 copies. So if you bought 300, 600, 900, 1200, those were draws. There was no 247 or 9. You bought 300 or 600 or 900 or 1200. They came in wonderful paper bags with metal string ties around them, delivered by the post office. So you knew that 300 you bought, 40, 50 were damaged, unsellable. And to Phil's credit, that was just tough, bleep. You're lucky to get them from me, so enjoy them. But to his credit, he really did a lot of really wonderful things. Him along with Bud Plant, who's really the founding father of our industry. So I just want to say that Phil's a fantastic guy. Passed way too young, in his mid-50s. A school teacher by trade, and really my mentor for getting involved in comics 40 years ago. So, congratulations to him.
One more round for Phil Seuling. ComicsPRO Industry Appreciation Award, and cheer loud and proud for all of these people. Cindy Fournier, the VP of Operations Design of Comics. It would be hard, other than Gary, it would be difficult to get your books, okay? A phenomenal job of making sure that all the invisible operations behind the scenes, getting us our books, the transportation issues are worked through so that we can get our products in a timely manner. Cindy's been in the business for a long time and is an incredibly valuable member of this community. Our next nominee is David Gabriel, VP of Sales. It's when you work for one of the big industry companies, it's sometimes a thankless position, and it's through Dave's tireless efforts that a lot of good things have happened in Marvel over the last number of years. We really appreciate his input in this meeting, his being a part of what we're doing here, but also in really listening to retailer concerns and trying to make improvements at Marvel Comics that help us all out. So another big round of applause for David Gabriel. Our next nominee is Robert Kirkman of Walking Dead fame. And does anybody carry Walking Dead in your store? No one threw up a hand. I cannot believe this room is so backward you would not carry Walking Dead. Okay. Robert Kirkman's got a lot in his relatively short time in this industry, and it's a testament to what he's done over the last few years, particularly with Walking Dead and Invincible and other perennials that put him on this list of nominees. So another round of applause for Robert Kirkman. I'm pressing too hard here. Okay. Our next nominee is Image Comics' Eric Stevenson. Eric's a passionate fan of comics, and he is a pretty darn good scout when it comes to finding talent and finding stories that will connect with an audience. And under his leadership at Image Comics, we've seen tremendous growth. We've seen a lot of exciting new properties come to Image. We've seen new talent be developed in the market. We've seen new retailer programs put in place. He's done a lot for this market, and is really generally one of the quiet guys who doesn't do a whole lot of talking out in front, but is a vital cog in this industry. So let's give it up one more time for Eric Stevenson. And our final nominee is the director. I always forget your title. It's executive vice president. No, vice president.
Senior vice president of sales.
Senior vice president of sales, because he's the senior guy there. I would venture to say that no one in this room knows more about comics or the comics industry than Bob Wayne. From the intricacies of the sales numbers and what works and what doesn't work for retailers, with his 25 years at DC Comics, now DC Entertainment, we've seen tremendous things happen, in large part because of what Bob Wayne has been instrumental in making happen for us. Bob Wayne. And now I would like to announce the recipient of the award. The winner this year for the ComicsPRO Industry Appreciation Award is Bob Wayne.
Thank all the members of ComicsPRO for your continued support. Many of you are friends and almost, I think, an extended family. I have to thank the people that hired me to start working at DC originally 25 years ago. Jeanette, Paul, Dick, and Bruce. And, of course, the people who continue to hire me. Diane, John, Jim, Dan, and Jeff. Because continuing to do so is also a very major function of all this. I want to thank the people who've been working with me at DC, those who were working with me really near the start of my career, like Rich Marco and Patty Jarris, and the folks on the current team, including Vince Loterio, who claims to have just completed 20 years working for me, and claimed there's only like 100 in dog years. So, for those of you who don't know, I started selling comics to people at conventions in 1973. And yes, I know it before some of you were born, and there's no need to come up later and point that out to me. I opened my first retail shop in 1980 selling comics. And I think the 7 years I spent in brick and mortar retail gave me an appreciation of what you guys do even today, even though clearly it was a much easier and simpler time back with the paper and stuff. I managed to be a Seagate account, a Pacific Comics account, a Bud Plan account, and a Diamond account, and a Capital City account as I was hedging my bets on how this whole thing was going to work out as far as how many distributors there were. That worked out pretty well for me, except that Steve Jeffy tends to remember every snarky thing I said to him as a retailer. And reminds me about it once or twice a year. I've been at DC now, the 25 years in August. Clearly the people who placed bets 25 years ago as to how many weeks or months I would last in corporate America, many of them have really been seriously trying to get their money back from me as though it's my personal responsibility. No one asked me for odds. It is not my, can't help. But I do think that the years in retailing and the years working with all of you have helped. It's helped, I believe, help DC sell more comics through all of you and your brethren. And I appreciate it. One more thing I have to point out is that I have that unique aspect of this that, when you work in a comic shop, you work at comics, you hear a lot of people say, oh, they still make comics, oh, my mother threw mine out.